welcome Andy Hockley to
Thank you, Heike.
IATEFL. It's the 53rd IATEFL here in Liverpool.
Yes.
We're delighted to have you. As we've heard that there's something new about LAMSIG, which is the Leadership and Management SIG, and you're the representative of the LAMSIG, so we're very happy to welcome you and talk a little bit about what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I'm the coordinator of LAMSIG, the Leadership and Management for managers, academic managers, directors of studies and so on, and anyone who's interested in management really in the ELT sector. And we have been trying to work out what we can do to more assist our members and maybe more help people who aren't our members but might be interested in becoming our members. And last year at the end of last year we had a strategic meeting. We asked our members to give us some feedback, to feed in what they wanted. And as some of the outcome of this strategic meeting is, what we're aiming to do is provide a little bit more of a pathway to validate people's knowledge a little bit and their skills and their training, and maybe offer mentoring and support. And we have an awful lot of articles over the years that the SIG has collected and created. We have a number of webinars that have been put on over the years. We maybe have 20 webinars already, and offering people the chance to use those materials, use that content and that knowledge in supporting their own learning, their own growth as managers, but also finding a way to somehow certify it or offer kind of mentoring programs. So we have a number of possible plans as the SIG, but that's kind of the bigger one. How can we do a bit more than what we're doing right now? Right now we do conferences, we do workshops, we put things on, but it's all a little bit unstructured. It's just when we get the opportunity, we do it. If someone puts on a conference, great. But if this maybe is a way of making it all a little bit more structured and a little bit more useful, because one of the problems that managers in ELT tend to have is that they often don't get any training. They're often never offered any training.
All right, okay.
People become managers through usually being a good teacher. So someone shines in the classroom and then we take them out of the classroom and put them in the office. And the problem with this is that they're often extremely skilled and very highly trained, often as teachers, but rarely do they get management training. And we can't really offer big-scale management training, but we do have a lot of material, a lot of content that people can make use of and improve themselves as managers, improve their practice as managers, and somehow maybe interact with us and with each other. Because I think the other thing that the SIG does is to provide a kind of a forum for managers to talk, discuss, share best practices, share ideas, share stories. Because the other problem that managers have in ELT is that they often don't have any peers.
Oh, right.
It's not like a teacher who's in a staff room full of other teachers who can discuss teaching matters. The manager often can't discuss management issues because there's no one in their organisation they can talk to about these things, because they don't have the opportunity, and they don't even really talk to anyone outside the organisation. So that's our role, I think.
This decision that LAMSIG has just done recently about validation certification, was that a request of the members, or was that something that you thought?
No, it came from the members. Yeah, we did a survey. We asked what people thought, and I don't think we would have come up with it as a plan, but that's what the members seem to suggest. That is there anything you can offer? I mean, personally, my personal work is mostly around management training and writing about management. I'm the lead trainer on a course called the International Diploma in Language Teaching Management, which mostly runs out of Australia, out of Brisbane. And I've been working on that course for 20 years now. And it provides a very good training, a good kind of way into management and a support for managers. But it's a smallish course that we don't get a lot of students every year, and it's mostly, at the moment, it's mostly in Australia actually.
And is it that you are training teachers, or are you training managers?
Both. Mostly managers, mostly people who already have management responsibilities. Sometimes people quite high up. I mean, sometimes school owners who don't have anyone above them at all. But also mostly, let's say, academic managers, directors of studies, assistant directors of studies, and maybe slightly higher. But I also work with teachers who are interested in management, who see it as the next stage for them, and they want to get some skills before they move up. But I would say the majority are people who are already managers and want to, in some way, not necessarily certify, but validate their skills, to kind of say, you know, this is what I've been doing. Am I doing it right?
Great.
And what else could I be doing? Is there any other way? So that's most of my personal work, is this kind of training, this sort of management training.
It's wonderful that the special interest group provides that kind of service to its members. Do you see IATEFL also sort of contributing, with the conferences like here in Liverpool, contributing towards this sort of niche know-how that somebody has to have as a manager?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's it's interesting. The different SIGs have different roles and they're different places within IATEFL. And for managers, sometimes I feel like what the LAMSIG can offer is something that IATEFL as a whole can't really offer, because IATEFL, by its nature, is an association for teachers. I mean, that's what the T in IATEFL is.
Exactly.
And that's clearly what its remit is. It's to help teachers. But in fact, many teachers are either doing some management, or they've been a teacher and they've moved into management, but they're still part of IATEFL, or they're thinking in the future, would I be interested in management? So I think there is a connection that we need to make more of. I was just at the plenary this morning, Paula Rebolledo's plenary, and I mean, she's talking about teacher empowerment, and she's talking about how teacher empowerment comes from the teacher themselves, but it also comes from the context, from the support that they receive in empowering themselves. And that's our job as managers. That's what I perceive as the manager's job. It's how can we create this context, this space in which teachers can be empowered, can take risks, can work out what works for them, can be critical and investigate things and do research.
Also see them a little bit as experts.
And they're experts, of course they are. Of course they're experts, and that's what we need to. That's what I see as a manager's role. And in some way, I would like to see, and I can see that maybe in the future as something a little bit more integrated. That managers and teachers are not separate beings. Most managers in education were teachers, first of all. So we have a knowledge of what's involved in the teaching process, but our job is to support teachers in being able to do what the best they can do, and they are the experts.
And seeing this on a global scale, and also the future of ELT, where do you think, are managers really needed? Is there a shortage of managers? Do you find that there's a shortage of teachers rather than managers? Where do you see this development?
I'm not sure there's a shortage. I mean, usually if there's a position opens, there's someone who wants that position, either because they want a little bit more responsibility, or they want a change, or because there tends to be a little bit more money in a management position than a teaching position. So there's a number of reasons why people might take that step. So I don't get the feeling that there's necessarily a shortage of managers. I think there's a shortage of trained managers.
Right.
But I think that's a slightly different question. I mean, I think there are people there who are willing to step into a management role when it comes up. And whether there's a shortage of teachers, again, I don't think there is a shortage of teachers. I think, if anything, maybe the opposite.
Okay.
But I do think there is a place in the future for some kind of slightly more integrated feeling, where it's not managers on one side, teachers on the other side. We have the same things. The goal is the same. Learning of the students is our goal, and I regard the manager's role as giving the space and giving the support for teachers in order to help do that, rather than some kind of top-down thing. It's actually a support role more than anything else, with a responsibility with various different things that have to be taken in mind. And clearly there's a business role as well as a pedagogical role in a management position. But I think there is something where we can come together a bit more than we do now.
Thank you very much for this conversation. Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience?
I don't think, well, off the top of my head, not really. I mean, like I say, I think there is a role here that managers can be more sort of a little bit more proactive and more working with teachers. And you know, I mean, I hope that in the future, both through our initiative in LAMSIG and through other initiatives, training initiatives and so on that are going on, that managers in ELT become a little bit more connected to each other, and also a little bit more aware of what a manager's job is and what options they have, how they can maybe do their job in a different way and do it slightly better, or at least try out different things, just like we're asking teachers to do. Empower teachers, let's empower managers too. What can you do that will help you go out and get things working for you?
Let's empower managers.
Let's empower managers as well as teachers.
Well done.
Thanks very much.
Thank you much, Andy.
Okay, thanks, Heike.